Interview and job search strategies that work. So in this episode, I just really want to go over something, of course I know about it because I've done it myself, right? And that is when you have a job, you it's a good idea to interview for jobs as well, right? And if your employer finds out about it, you could just let them know, hey, this is the reason I'm doing it. I don't know what my skill set is in the industry. I want to know, what don't I know? What do I need to know to advance myself? And what things do I not know now that I can learn? And that's really the whole idea here is while you go on interviews, and you really want to know, like, how do I compete? How do I measure up against my competition? And you're not going to know that unless you go on interviews. Talking to your colleagues, and if you're the person that knows the most in your team, then it's probably a good idea to go on interviews. Because the likelihood is either A, your team isn't strong, or B, maybe, hey, who knows? Maybe your team is strong and you're just that much better. But when you go to another company, you could be the low man on the totem pole, basically. You thought, oh, okay, my skills are so great, or you got comfortable skills. Maybe you think you're out of 100, or 1 to 100. Let's say your skill set. Oh, I'm a 80, right? Whatever. Let's say help desk or Windows admin. Oh, I'm 1 out of 80. You're a Windows admin. Or systems admin, let's say. Or no, let's even go further. A help desk admin. So that's just pretty much that's a baseline, right? So out of 100 in a help desk environment, you're a 90. You're not the best, but you're not the worst. And so that's what you think you are, right? So when you go and interview for another place, the help desk job, and there's other things that you have no idea, you've never heard of them. Some time management tools that they use that you've no idea what they are. So now you're thinking, oh wow, I'm really like a 40 or a 30 out of 100, whereas you thought you were a 90 before. So that's the whole reason why you want to. I think it's a good idea for everybody to go on interviews. The other thing is training yourself or getting training in ITIL. ITIL, which is what's it stand for? ITIL. Okay. So ITIL is a framework of best practices for delivering IT services. It's a systematic approach. I'm reading this off of Google, by the way, of IT service management, and it can help businesses manage risk, strengthen customer relations, establish cost-effective practices, and build a stable IT environment that allows for growth, scale, and change. And so there's of course I Googled, right, but 5 stages of ITIL, right? Service life cycle. You got service strategy, service design, service transition, service operation, continual service improvement. Oh yeah, that's 5. And that the training is really good, by the way. If you attend like ITIL training, it's very good. And so what's the reason? Why do you need that? So the reason it's beneficial for you is if you can talk in their language, in business people language, basically, and you're a help desk admin, and you could say things like mitigate risk and service catalog and change management, right? Those words they understand, like, oh wow. So in the interview, if you like know those things, like, oh wow, this person knows about this stuff. Wow, okay, service life cycle. Because in ITIL, they also have something about training people as well. So that's not something I guess they don't bring up, but or that I haven't heard actually in the past. But having learned the ITIL training, that they talk about it. Like that's an actual thing. Like the people on your team, if they know something, their skill set, that's less risk for them. So that falls into the ITIL thing. And the ITIL at first is gonna be like really boring. Like, oh, what's this? I have no idea what you're talking about. Blah blah blah. It's like you're hearing the people from like the teachers from Charlie Brown, and like, oh, wah wah wah. No, it at first it'll sound like that, but what helps is just to to play it out. Like you're a car dealership, right, or something like that. Let's say you're better yet, you're a restaurant, and then how do you apply this ITIL stuff to a restaurant? And then you just change out different things for IT, right? You just change things out for IT. The movie called Office Space, it's interesting, right? Like in Office Space, there's these things called TPS reports, and they talk about TPS in ITIL. Like, wow, I've heard that word before, but I didn't know any idea what it is. So interesting. So that's the benefit of it. That's the benefit of going on a lot of interviews. Always keeping yourself knowledgeable of your industry. What don't you know? What do you know? Certifications. Always keeping up on your certifications. Of course, it goes without saying, right? If you have the job requires a cert, get the cert, right? No matter what. But if you're always learning, or if you're always going to interview, you know exactly what your skill set is, and record the interview, right? And play it back so that you know what questions to ask, or how did it go, how is your tone, what type of things. If you can throw something in there in the interview about ITIL or how it works, you're really going to get a lot of points on that, because they know that you don't know everything. Who can know everything, right? But if you understand how to get there, that's what they're looking for a lot of times in these jobs. Of course, some places you really have to know, like the higher you go, IT wise, the more you should know. You should know the basics, right? So they expect, okay, you build on the basics. Like your help desk, that's a building block. And then Active Directory is a building block, let's say, right? And then your next, usually your next one is like systems admin, and then your senior sysadmin. So you really, want to know the help desk side, customer oriented, right? And if you know the ITIL stuff, I mean, of course, it's another thing, right, to throw at you, right, but along with other IT stuff. But if you understand how they perceive things and how they're looking at it, because you got to figure it's a company, they have to make money. They're a restaurant, they have to make money. So do they? You could, for instance, you could do change management, right? For instance, like, oh, we changed out our vendor for potatoes, and now the potatoes are smaller. So now the potatoes are smaller. If I want to make homemade mashed potatoes, I need more potatoes. So it means I need more product to make the same thing as I did before. So let's say then you go in the money factor, right? How much does it cost? And it's a bunch of risk, and how long does it take to make it? How do you need to train more people? Is there a system in place? Will that bigger potato fit in your device that you use to automatically peel it or whatever, right? Those type of things. But of course, that's all, that's all whoop-de-doo. But that's some of the things in ITIL. But anyway, just to follow up on this, the point of this talking right now is just to really figure out what skills you don't have for the next step, and validating your own. And also what it does is it validates your own skill set, because you know where you're at, the bar level. You could ask your colleagues, can you interview, I mean, maybe you start there, just ask interviews, can you interview me on this kind of technology, and this, like, let's say, interview me as a help desk admin. What things do you think I need to know? And that person may interview you. Well, of course, they're going to have they're going to be a little biased because they work with you, versus someone you have no idea, they've never worked with, who you're interviewing with, right? And I always say, go interview for a different state somewhere over the phone, and find you're going to find out that way. It's a different company. It's across whatever state. Maybe it's a different country in your cases sometimes. Wherever you're at, just interview somewhere else. That way, okay, that's what it's like to work. What you're doing is you're building like a little picture, what skills you need to have. So Okay, thanks everybody for listening to this podcast, and have a great day.